Hey y'all, it's Nat. It's been a while. Health stuff got pretty bad, and I also adopted a dog since the last time I posted. I'll put a picture of her here. Her name is Pearl. She is the sweetest girl in the whole world. I love her very much. But with my health the way it's been, she was taking up all of the spoons that I had left, so content creation has been a little bit difficult. But I feel like I'm coming out of this phase of the flare-up, I guess, that was making it really difficult for me to do any sort of content creation. So I'm not having necessarily good head days, but I can at least sit down and film. As you can see, we've got like a different setup going here. I moved one of my bean bags over in front of my bookshelves for a little like reading nook kind of situation, and it's actually easier for me to film down here when I'm feeling well enough to film but not well enough to sit in my desk chair for as long as it takes me to film. So sometimes you'll be seeing this setup, sometimes you'll be seeing the previous one. With my rainbow shelves. I do miss having those there, but these are great books to be featuring in the shot. So also I want to address the hoodie situation. So my hair has gotten really long and my health has been so bad that I haven't been able to get a haircut in a while, and I wasn't able to get an appointment. Now that I'm starting to feel a little bit better, I wasn't able to get an appointment until September 13th. And it's pretty long, and so my gender dysphoria has been not great honestly for like maybe a month and a half, but like really not great in the last week or so. So y'all will be seeing me in hoodies until I can get my hair cut. Hey y'all, editing Nat here. I got my hair cut, so no more hoodies unless I'm doing a reading vlog or filming a clip of me while I'm editing. Yeah, it took me a long time to edit this video. I filmed it at the beginning of September. So yeah, back to the video. So yeah, that's a little life update situation. Today, we're gonna be talking about the evolution of my annotating system. I thought this would be a fun topic because this hoodie may not have been the best one to wear because the way it's y'all, it's like bob length. It's the length that I was cutting it when I still had a bob, and I feel like you can see it. I wish I'd like pinned it back or something. Okay, this is what we're doing. We'll see how long I can stand this. I don't necessarily love how it feels, but we'll see how long I can deal with it. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so the evolution of my annotating system. I thought this would be a fun topic because it has changed a lot over the years, and I am about to switch it up a little bit. So we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end. I haven't actually done it, but we can still talk about it. Okay, so I started annotating back in 2018, and the very first book that I ever annotated was Vicious by V.E. Schwab. So okay, so let's try and do this in like a structured way. So there's always been like 3 components to my annotating system, and I think most people use these 3 components, but they might not use maybe some people only use 2 or 1. But I have my page flags, I have my pens, and then I have my highlighters. Okay, so for the page flags, from the beginning, I used these were regular Post-it note page flags that I got from Target. And I was like, that's a lot of colors, that's fun. So I got these. And from the beginning, I wanted to try and match the colors to the cover of the book. Obviously, I did not have a red, so I used the light yellow to kind of match the title there. And I've always dated my page flag. So whenever I make a note, I put the date on the end there, and I like that. That's nice because I sometimes forget to keep track of my books on Storygraph, although in 2018 I think I was probably still using Goodreads. When did Storygraph come out? Like 2019, 2020, something. As soon as I was able to use Storygraph, I did, because I have always hated Goodreads. So yeah, I would date the page flags in black. It's important to note that for later. We'll get there. So yeah, color match to the cover. I didn't have any sort of color coding system for my page flag. I also, as you can see, I would stick these very far out, and I don't love that I did that, but I also am too lazy to fix it. So That's how it is. Okay, so for my pens, I have always used my Pilot G207 pens. I didn't always have this many colors. I definitely didn't have this many colors when I was annotating Vicious, but it didn't really matter because I just used the red pen for Vicious. Later, I got more colors, and that was when my annotating system got a little bit more involved. Yeah, so I just used red for any of the notes that I was taking throughout the book for anything I was writing because red matches the cover. So the only thing that I had a color coding system for was my highlighters. And the thing is, so back then I was using the Pilot Friction highlighters. There were more colors. I no longer have those colors because they ran out of ink. There was a blue, a yellow, and a green. And now I only have orange, purple, and pink. So yeah, I use the Pilot Friction highlighters. These are erasable highlighters. I have never, ever erased a highlighter mark that I've made in a book because I'm scared it will erase the ink. I have done it in textbooks. It would fade the ink a little bit, but it wasn't. The paper that they use for textbooks isn't the same that they use for these, obviously. So the thing about my color coding system that was going on with this book is that I kept track of that in the Notes app on my phone, and I can guarantee y'all that that note no longer exists. I used the same color coding system for every book because I couldn't match it to the cover. Obviously, I only had 6 colors of highlighters. So, you know, I could probably figure out what the color coding system was by reading, like what my notes were. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, so I think green was character development. Yeah, I think so. I didn't always highlight things in order to, like, make a note. Sometimes I would just write blue. Okay, we got blue. Got a lot of blue going on here. Blue appears to be world building. Pink. Okay, we got some pink here, right over here. I don't know. I just wrote ha next to whatever I highlighted. I don't know what was funny about that, but okay. I don't know what pink is. What is pink? I highlighted Victor ran his fingers through the ice water and recoiled. What in pink? What does that mean? I wrote, this sounds like the worst way to die. That helps me. Not at all. Is it plot? Oh, is it plot? I think it might be plot. Plot. Yeah, okay, plot. It's plot. There we go. Figured it out. So we did blue, we did pink, we did green. No purple? Oh, here's a purple. Okay, I think purple is relationship development. And by the way, when I say relationship development, I mean like any kind of relationship. I always group that under one category. So like romantic relationships, platonic, familial. Orange, 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 orange. I got a little, can you see? I got a little bit of orange. Diction? Was I making notes on diction? Did I have maybe writing? So I think orange was writing. So that's how I did Vicious, and I stuck with that annotating system for like a year. And then I started to switch it up. So, well, what happened? Okay, so what happened was eventually I got more colors of my Pilot G207s, and then one day I went to the Target on my campus. Yes, I had a Target on campus. It was a small Target, but it was still a Target, and it was great, and I loved it. So anyways, one day I went to Target and they had zebra mild liners, and these had been on my radar for so long. It was all in one pack because I knew people would get them in packs of like 4 or 5 maybe, and like they would be in all of this was together, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. So what I wanted to do was get more involved with my annotating system. So now, okay, I know this wasn't the first book that I annotated. This is Kingdom of the Wicked. I know this wasn't the first book that I annotated this way. I can't think of any of the other books like when I look at my shelves, I'm like, I don't know what else. I know I started some. I know what the first one was. Now I gotta figure out where it is. Okay, hold on. No. Wait, is it a trilogy or duology? Oh, I know. I'm such a dum-dum. Hold on. It has sprayed edges. It was on the sprayed edges shelf. So, okay, so this is when things got more involved. Oh wait, this is actually different. This is different. Okay, the reason I didn't remember, y'all, was because, so first of all, I haven't actually finished this book. I started it while I was in school, and school got really busy, so I stopped reading it, and then I never got back to it, which is the story of many of the books on my shelves. But the reason I couldn't remember at first was I was reading at school. When I was bringing it home, I didn't want the page flags to get bent, and so I tucked them in. Things started to change here. Okay, so what happened was, this was when I started to merge my color coding system for my pen and my highlighters, because I could find like pens that like correspond. I would match my pen, basically. Every single pen had a match. I had these two, I had these two, and y'all get the gist. Lime green, okay? Y'all get the gist. I don't have to do it for all of them. But so I was like, you know, this is fun. I can match them all together. This way, if I want to make a note, right, and I don't want to highlight, it still corresponds to like the whole color coding system. Or if I just want to highlight, I could, you know, or I can do both if I want. So, oh yeah, so this is very different from, wow, this is actually more different from Kingdom of the Wicked than I remembered. Okay, so since I had more colors, I wanted more elements to keep track of. So I started I started watching other people's annotating systems to try and get ideas of what else I could keep track of besides characters, besides relationships. And so from watching other people's videos, I added, representation. So if there happened to be in any book I was reading like representation of a marginalized community that I am a part of, I don't really make notes on representation of communities I'm not a part of. I tend to go to Own Voices reviewers for that kind of critique, unless it's like, I mean, I have some degree of like media literacy in terms of like, if there was something like really harmful in a book, probably not this, I don't think this book. If there was something like really harmful, I could recognize that and be like, hey, this isn't a good thing. So yeah, the representation was an element I added. Questions, I don't know why. Did I have questions? We'll find out. And then miscellaneous was another one I added. And then, so what I was noticing was a lot of people were making note of like how they felt about things. So like they'd have a color for characters, for world building, for plot, and then they'd have color for things that they loved, things that made them sad or angry, things that made them laugh, maybe, like that kind of stuff. But for me, like they would always keep that in the same, like the same color coding system they had for story elements, they also had for the feelings, and that didn't work for me. So I needed to separate those things out, and that's where color coding page flags came in. So the pens and the highlighters were the story elements that I was making note of, and then the page flags was how I felt about whatever I made note of, like on that page. So for page flags, I had dislike was light pink, love was purple, and sad was light blue, and indifferent was teal. Okay, interesting. Okay, so sad is not something that I use anymore. We'll get there. Okay, I was still dating them in black. Oh wow, okay, look, a lot going on here. I was really enjoying this book. Oh, I did have questions. Look, oh wait, what? That's two, huh? Oh, okay. Okay, for a second I thought I was using pen to underline where I was highlighting here. I don't know if y'all can tell. There's like two different colors here, right? But then I remembered, so the mild liners have a chisel tip on one end and a bullet tip on the other. Okay, so those were questions about anything really. Like if it was about plot or if it was about, okay, character. It was questions about anything about the story. But then here I am having questions. What's periwinkle? Periwinkle is world building. So here I am having questions about world building over here. So I don't know, you know, I end up getting rid of the questions thing. And see, I was using the teal here. Okay, y'all, I was really enjoying this book, and I didn't, I never finished it. I got to get back to it at some point, hopefully maybe this year. So I started using that in 2019 was when I started using that system. And I probably kept that going until 2020. Again, I don't remember like all of the books that I've annotated. And I probably have gotten rid of some over the years as well. After that was when we get into Kingdom of the Wicked. Again, I was still using the Post-it note page flags. Y'all can see I got better at having like a thin, okay, come on, man. Like not as much page flag sticking out. I still feel like I could improve. I kind of want to get to Jayana level, because when she does it, it's like just the tiniest bit of page flag sticking out, and I think it's very visually pleasing to me personally. Okay, oh, did I show y'all with this system? This was when I started using the sticky note to keep track of everything, because obviously it was getting a little bit more complicated than my first annotating system. And now that I had more color options, I was always trying to theme the pens and the highlighters to kind of match the vibes of the cover, even if it wasn't an exact color match. If it still got, you know, still the same feeling. And same with the page flags. However, with Kingdom of the Wicked, I started to get a little bit more fancy with my little Post-it note. Hold on. I used some washi tape to stick it in there. And okay, so here we got, I'm gonna take the dust jacket off because I already know that this is gonna bug me. Hold on. Okay, so this is where things change. So I stopped using 8 different story elements. So what I ended up doing was I just kind of took it back to bare bones. I did character development, relationship development. Here, I'll actually show y'all. So character development was this. Did I mess that up? I messed that up. I only just now I'm realizing it. So character development was supposed to be this like light purple, right? And then relationship development was supposed to be this kind of raspberry color. World building was gold. Well, okay, so it's more like this highlighter is more like a mustard yellow, and the closest match that I had to it was gold. And same thing for gray and silver. Okay, so the silver was plot, and then brown was miscellaneous, because that was the color that matched the least to the color scheme, but it still kind of fit, so I made it work. I made it work. And then so we took it back down to bare bones, just because it's not like I needed all 8 of those colors for every book that I was reading, but I do read mostly SFF, so world building is always relevant to me. Plot is always relevant. Character development is always relevant. Relationship is always relevant. And then miscellaneous can just be there to be, you know, anything else that comes up while I'm reading. And then the page flags. Okay, so I switched it up a little bit. Now, so lilac was things that I like or things that I love. So that's this color here. And then we had violet, like this color here. That was for things that I was indifferent about. And then I have this raspberry color here. So, okay, so yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. This will be relevant for the next system that we do, because I didn't love wasting a color by using 2 different colors on each page, but I don't always feel the same way about one note that I did about another. So we'll come back to this, but okay, so raspberry is, I have it as dislike, no points off. So like something sad happened, a character is making me frustrated or whatever, but it's nothing against the story itself. It's just, you know, it's just the story is making me feel things. And then gold is dislike and points off. It's like, this is something I didn't like, and I wish it wasn't there. Okay, so that's the breakdown of what was going on here. Okay, so here's where I started. Okay, I kept noting that I was dating my page flags in black. Here I started using, I wanted to use my metallic G2 pens more. Y'all are probably like, this doesn't matter, but it matters to me, okay? I use my purple metallic to date the page flags. And also, like, you'll notice in this I used it for like labeling and writing out the color coding system where it wasn't the pens and stuff. So the whole deal with like the color that I picked to date my page flags is that I don't want the color to be one of the colors that I use in my annotating system. I want it to be separate, and I can't use like the metallics. I very rarely use the metallics in my annotating system, only when I need the gold and the silver, because the mile liners don't match with anything else. But normally I don't use the metallics in my annotating system because I only have 6 colors. And I like things to be consistent. Like if I'm going to use metallics, I want them to be all metallics. Again, I have my exceptions that honestly it does like annoy me a little bit, but it's just something I have to deal with because I don't have a good like golden yellow, like a matte golden yellow pen or a gray pen. So I have to deal with it for books like this. But generally, I want them to either all be matte or all be metallic. So my way of like using my metallic pens was to be like, oh, we'll pick the one that fits the vibe of the cover the most and use that to date the page flags and write out the color key. And this does not matter to anybody but myself probably, but I needed to talk about it because it's, like I said, it's important to me. But I think that's all I can say about this annotating system. Okay, so now we're gonna try something new. And I haven't tried it yet. We're gonna be doing, it's something that I'm gonna be doing this month. It'll probably be in a reading vlog. I want to annotate Babel, and I will be reading this for a dark academia themed reading vlog later on in the month. It might, I don't know, it might not come out this month, it might come out in October. I think I might be doing it the last week of September. That's the plan currently. So we're switching things up for Babel, and I am excited. So the first like idea that came to mind was I was inspired by a lot of people have been posting their annotations on Bookstagram lately, and I have been loving it. I'm going to insert a picture of one thing that I saw somebody posted, and I'll leave the link to the Bookstagram in the description as well. I'll also leave any other creators I've mentioned. They'll all be in the description. And so I saw this post and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I love how like the highlighter is one color and then the pen underlining is another color. I think that's really cool looking. Apparently I did that in Circle of Shadows. I had no recollection of it. But I was like, I wonder if there's a way that I could like incorporate that into my annotating system. And so what I decided to end up doing was, like, for the past 2 annotating systems, I have had the same color coding system for the pens and the highlighters. It was a merged color coding system. Let's separate them out. The pens are going to be the story elements. So character is going to be brown, character development. Relationship development is going to be gold. World building is going to be silver. And plot is going to be orange. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I have a limited color palette here that we're dealing with. I actually don't know for sure if this is the edition that I will be annotating. I am still waiting on one more. I have my Illumicrate version, which doesn't even have like any of this yellow in here. I'm still waiting on my Fairy Loot edition, so I don't know what that's going to be about. I'm bringing back the writing category because I think I want to go into this book with writer brain on. I think I'm in the mood for that. I might change my mind and cross it out and put it back to miscellaneous, but that's where we're at. And then I've also left room here for other elements if things come up while I'm reading. I'm hoping that nothing else comes up because I don't know what colors I'm going to use. I've given myself the option. I've decided, you know, like for the past 2 systems, I have had like these are all of the story elements that I am keeping track of for every book that I am reading. But the thing is, like in practice, I don't necessarily make notes on the same thing for every single book. Like I'd say it's pretty common that I do have character development, relationship development, world building, and plot. And that's the only thing that I consistently do every book. And so the miscellaneous was supposed to like address that issue. But I was like, you know what? I don't love that. I don't love what if miscellaneous category is actually encompassing 2 or 3 different elements that I am consistently keeping track of throughout a book. Especially a book like this, you know, like I feel like there's probably, I may end up adding a separate section for linguistics because I am a huge linguistics nerd. It's one of the reasons I'm like so excited to read this book. It's one of the reasons I want this to be the book that I annotate, even though I haven't been annotating as much this year, just because it's I have been relying on blended reads and of physical or ebook plus audiobook, and I feel like it's probably going to be difficult to annotate doing a blended read, but I will be doing a blended read for Babbel as well. But I'm going to try and make it work. So I may end up adding a section for linguistics because apparently that's like super integral to the story and the world building. For now, I'm assuming it can just go into world building, but we shall see. So yeah, pens are the story element. Highlighters are going to be the feelings that were previously indicated by page flags. And I love this because I am still using like the similar color palettes for the pens and the highlighters. So gold will be love, gray will be indifferent, red or like kind of salmon will be, I have it as upset positive. So like, you know, it's making me sad, it's making me angry, but in a good way. And then upset negative is brown. And so that's for anything that makes me upset and I wish it wasn't a part of the story. I doubt I'll be using that color a whole lot. But yeah, I like this because, you know, sometimes like the colors will match and sometimes they'll be different. So it'll be both, you know, like sometimes the character might do something that makes me upset and I wish this wasn't in the story. Sometimes there will be relationship development that I love. Sometimes there will be world building notes that I have that I am indifferent about. Possibly. I don't know. I might, the world building stuff is probably going to be heavily linguistics based, so it's probably going to be this highlighter that I use a lot. So what's happening with the page flags? What color am I going to use to date my page flags? Because I can't use gold or silver. That's part of the annotation system. Here's what we're going to do for the page flags. Hopefully it works. I actually don't know. There's not as much texture to these as there is to the post-it notes. So I don't know how we're going to do. I'm going to try and use my Staedtler fine liner to date them in black. Again, like I'm not, like the only other colors of metallic that I have are green, blue, purple, and pink. And none of those things match the vibes of this cover. So we are going back to black for Babbel. That's a song. So yeah, we're just going to go back to black and hopefully the Staedtler will work on this. I don't even know if the G2s are going to work on this. Hopefully it's not an issue. We'll find out. So the page flag color coding system. So something that was an issue with this book, chapter 5, I had one note that was about something that I liked and one note that was something that made me upset, but it didn't detract from the story for me. I use a lot of page flags throughout a book. It feels like wasteful to use more than one page flag on a single page, especially for a book like Babbel. Like, I'm going to use a lot of page flags and I don't want to run out of a color, especially because there's not a whole lot of color. There's not a whole lot of each color. That is the downside of these Amazon ones. I think I'm going to cut them in half to make them like small, like skinnier. I will be using this beige color. That will give me like twice the amount, but maybe I could even do thirds. We'll see. We'll see. I think I'm going to do half. But the point is, I don't want to run out of a color. And so how can I have like a color coding system that is useful to me when I look at the little page tabs sticking out of my book? I decided to go with a point system based on the, you know, the highlighter system of feelings, like how I felt about whatever I was making a note of. So so let's say everything I highlighted on a page was something that I loved. or it was something that I loved, and maybe a little bit there was stuff that I was indifferent about, but it was just mostly stuff that I loved, right? So positive feelings or positive and neutral feelings is a +2, and that will be this gold color right here. And then if there is stuff that I am upset about, even if it's, okay, so upset positive and upset negative I think are gonna go together on this. Maybe not, I don't know. No, upset positive is gonna go in with love. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So, okay, let's just say this. Everything I made a note of on a page was something that was like adding to the positive feelings of the book as a whole. How's that? This is hard to describe, and I'm so sorry, y'all. Like, it's so complicated, but it makes sense to me, and hopefully y'all get what I'm saying. So if it's all positive, then it's a +2 and it's gold, okay? If it's mostly positive with a little bit of negative stuff on the page, then it's a +1, and it is this like light orange color here. Now, if it's all neutral, then it's a 0, what's this called, like a subscript or something? 0 subscript 1. That's neutral 1, and that will be beige. Then we have a neutral 2, and so that for me is like even split between positive and negative on a page, and that's the lightest gray, this really light gray, okay? If it's mostly negative with a little bit of positive, then it's a -1, and that's this medium gray. And if it's all negative, then it's a -2, and that's this dark gray. So that's how we're doing the page flag system. I know it sounds it sounds so complicated, and it is complicated, but like I'm not scared of complicated. I think it's fun, and people may disagree with me, but it's my annotating system, and I'm gonna see if it works for me. I think it will. It's always hard to tell how an annotating system works out. Like, I may not need as many of these different point categories as I think I do, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel at the end of it all. So that's where we're going with this from now on. I don't think I'm gonna add, so, you know, I'm always going to leave room for more categories. I don't know if I'll ever add more categories for the feelings. Maybe I will. Maybe, ooh. Am I already about to change this? Maybe I take a more tailored approach, because this was for the page flags. I didn't have enough, first of all, I didn't have enough colors to have more than 4 categories for each book that I was doing if I wanted to match it to the book cover. But now I have more colors. Wait, no, I don't have more colors for the highlighters. I have the same amount of colors for the highlighters. But I was doing 5 colors before for the highlighters. So maybe I could do love, indifferent, sad, angry, funny. Like, I could do, it's maybe not for this book. Maybe after this book we'll have a new annotating system. I don't want to have more than 4 colors for this book, because I don't know what highlighter colors I would use because of this limited color palette. It's such a beautiful book, but it's making things difficult for me. I'm leaving, so hold on. Basically from now on, these 2 categories will be tailored to each book. So if I want to add more, I'm always going to leave room. I'll have my basic elements, and then I'll always leave more room for anything else that comes up while I'm reading the book. And maybe I'll like cross it off if it ends up not being relevant to the book. I don't know. We'll see. I can't imagine a book where any of these like main 4 wouldn't be relevant. Except for world building, if I wasn't like reading like an SFF book. I don't, like, obviously world building still happens in like contemporaries, but I don't generally make a note of it. I can think of maybe 1 or 2 books that were contemporaries off the top of my head that I did actually was like really impressed by the world building. Anyway, so I'm happy with where this is at for now, because again, I had a challenge really figuring out the color scheme. Maybe the Fairy Loot edition will help me out. And in that case, I'll probably have to like if the color scheme is wildly different for I don't think it's going to be, but I think that's it. That's the evolution of my annotating system. Where it's going is obviously still a little bit in flux because I haven't actually started annotating with it yet. But I'm very excited to. and I'll keep y'all updated. If things change, maybe I'll do another video in the future, but that's where we're at now. Hey y'all, so I'm refilming this outro because the brain fog was hitting me a lot when I was originally filming this video, and it was very hard to edit. The outro is just not editable, so we're gonna redo it. It's fine. Oh, I did want to mention that I also want to start doodling in my books, because people have been posting pictures of them doodling in their books on Bookstagram as well, and I think it looks really cute and fun, so I'm gonna try it. But I think that's it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments, do y'all annotate? Are you thinking about starting to annotate? If you do annotate, what's y'all's systems like? Did y'all find anything interesting about any of my annotating systems that you might want to try out? I would love to hear that, because it means A, that I explained it all well, because sometimes I think things make more sense in my head than they do to other people. But also, I'd love to hear that I'm not the only person who maybe goes a little bit overboard with the annotating system. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos from me, make sure to click that subscribe button as well. I am back. I have some reading vlogs and some like catching up on lost time type videos coming out in the next few weeks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!